Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I want to share with you how tracking data in an Excel spreadsheet has helped my practice to grow tremendously. Not only that, it's yielding insights about my practice that have really helped me think more strategically about the practice, where to spend marketing dollars. It's actually given me a better understanding of where my referrals come from, how many referrals I'm getting, what my conversion rate is. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and that's what I want to jump into today. I actually want to go through a spreadsheet with you and show you what my spreadsheet looks like, and then show you how you can do this yourself and what kind of data and information you can glean from your practice, and so that you can make decisions as well. Now, a lot of us see all these advertisements about marketing and will help your practice grow with like all these cash pay clients in 30 days. And all of that sounds really great. But the foundation of all of this starts with our data. So if, let's just say, for example, we decide to sign up for a program like that, right? One of those programs that says, you pay us $10,000 and we'll guarantee you get 30 new clients, all cash pay in 60 days. Even before we start that, we need to know what our starting point is. Like, how many referrals are you currently getting? How many do you get per month? Where do they come from? What's the cost of the referral, right? A lot of us actually don't know the answer to that information. And I was like that too. I would feel like I wasn't getting enough referrals in the practice, but I wasn't tracking the data. I wasn't actually sure how many I was getting. I had a feeling, but I wasn't sure how many, where they were coming from, what the cost was. I wasn't sure specifically. And so I wasn't actually making decisions that were based on data and facts. And when we're running a small business like a private practice, we certainly want to be making decisions that are based on data, numbers, and facts as best we can. So today I want to show you how I've been doing this recently, and I think it will really help you out. So without further ado, let's actually jump into the spreadsheet. And I'm looking all over the place here. I've got multiple screens up. I'm doing this in one shot, no video editing. I actually have a screen recording going on. So I'm going to switch over to the spreadsheet right here, and I'm looking up because that's where my spreadsheet is. Now, just before we start, all of the data in this spreadsheet is from ChatGPT. It's not real. These are not real people. This is not real contact information. All of it is totally made up. All right, so no HIPAA violations here. And that's the first thing I want to preface. If you're starting to collect data, make sure the way you do it is HIPAA compliant. And of course, we want to make sure that all the data the way we collect our data is HIPAA compliant. So keep that in mind. But let me go through with you a mock spreadsheet. Now, this is going to have most of the columns that I have in my spreadsheet. And I will show you how this yields data. Okay, you can still see this. How this yields really, really helpful data. All right, but first, let's actually go through the different, why is that not working? Oh, there we go. Can you see that? Is that working for me? Okay, it's working for me. It's certainly working for you. All right, let's actually just go through all the columns one by one to give you a sense of the data we're actually collecting. All right, so we have number one is file number. This is similar to an MRN, right? So I don't want to put patient names in here. I want to categorize it by file number, MRN, medical record number. You might not think that, if you're using Simple Practice, you might not think it has a file number, but it actually does. It's in the client URL. I can make another video about that if you want to. But file number is essentially the patient identification number, all right? I like to have initials there as well, which would help me kind of keep track of who the client is. I can get a sense of who it is if I'm, if I'm looking at the initials. And then the email, I'll tell you what that's for in a minute, but that's just an easy way to have contact information. Phone number, same thing. We'll get to that in a moment, why we're collecting that. We want referral source, right? So where are our referrals coming from? And again, it auto-populated this, but maybe it's word of mouth, Psychology Today, Headway, pretty simple, straightforward right there. The cost of booking. So you want to add in about how much that booking is going to cost. Now, this is where it can get a little bit complicated, but let's just go through a couple of these really quick. So if it's word of mouth, that's going to be $0, right? It didn't cost any money for that person to find you. If it's Psychology Today, this gets a little bit complicated in the spreadsheet, but Psychology Today is around $30 per month. And now we can actually create custom formulas for our spreadsheet that could actually calculate the cost per booking based on how many clients you enter in here and label them as Psychology Today. That's probably a video for another time. And I don't know anything about formulas and math, but I was able to use ChatGPT to help me create a formula that did just that. But for the sake of today's video, let's just say you have one Psychology Today referral, and so one in that month, and so the cost of that booking would be $30, okay? And then so on and so forth. And then we want to have kind of a general sense of the issue. This doesn't need to be too detailed, but maybe they're coming in for general reasons. Maybe it's anxiety, depression, and this will kind of give us a sense of the types of issues people are reaching out to our practice for. All right. State, so you want, I'm licensed in multiple states. So to have a column about where these clients are helps me understand where my referrals are like located, right? New York or New Jersey, that's where I am. We want date of initial contact. So this is going to be really important because now it's going to give us a sense of how many referrals we're getting in a given month, okay? Initial practice contact, I like to add that in there for myself so I can understand when I've contacted the client. For me, typically it's the same exact day as the date of initial contact. I try to follow up with clients right away, but that will help me keep track of who I've actually responded to. And then I have a field for second contact here, K. And this second contact here is for the clients that maybe didn't respond to the first contact, or there was a lapse in contact and maybe I reached out, they responded, but nothing came of it. And this is actually something that a lot of therapists, myself included, don't do enough. So you might have a client reach out and then you respond to the consultation request and then there's nothing, right? A lot of therapists actually don't follow up after a couple tries. They just feel like, well, maybe they moved on. But sometimes clients actually get really busy and they haven't followed up. So actually, once you start collecting this data, you will have a list of clients that you can follow up with about scheduling that didn't work out the first time around. So that's why I have a second contact column, which allows me to create this data set, right? If I filtered it, of clients that didn't respond the first time, maybe it's in the last month, and now you have a chance to reach out to them again, and that's another client prospect. So that's really helpful to have in there. L, this is a free consultation column. So did we have the free consultation? I offer a 15-minute consult. So this is simply yes or no. Did you have it? Did you not? And then we have conversion status. And conversion status is simply, did a client go beyond the free consultation and have that first session? Okay, this is a really important thing to have because now we're going to get our conversion rate, right? So we can take all the people who reached out to our practice, right? Every single person from the file number section, and then we can take the conversion status and we can do a simple calculation there and figure out the percentage of people that actually become clients from those that reach out. Really helpful number. We'll talk more about that in a moment. If they don't convert, we don't always get a reason, but if we do have one, it's really helpful to have it. It gives us a sense of kind of what's going on. Sometimes it sheds light on weaknesses or something that we could do better, right? So that's helpful to have. Provider, this is a column. If you're running a group practice, you can have your different providers in here just to get a sense of what clients are with who and how many clients they have. So provider is really for those running a group practice. We can have a status column. So are they an active patient? Are they an inactive patient? Are they discharged? Are they no longer a patient? So this is a helpful column to have as well. Treatment frequency. So if they're active, are they weekly, bi-weekly, right? That kind of thing. Next, we have a number of paid sessions. So, each week, maybe once a month or once a week, you go through and you update this. So let's say, client number 1 on here, you've seen them 5 times. So you'd have 5 in here, right? And so on and so forth. Now you realize some of this data is going to take some time to get and you have to kind of keep it going. But I think it's well worth the time. And once you get this built out, it is not that hard to update it. But we'll talk more about that in a second as well. The payment type, so you'll be able to figure out, are they insurance, self-pay? You can even break this down further, what kind of insurance they take. Average session payment, so essentially what is the average payment you get from that particular session, right? What is your fee? What is the insurance reimbursing you? And this doesn't have to be perfect, right? You can have just an average in there. And then from there, you'll be able to create a column that is the average client value. Right, and the average client value will basically come from the average session payment multiplied by the number of paid sessions. Now, this is a column that's actually going to help us decide what is our average value of a particular client. Now, I'm going to get to that in a second. I actually talked about that in a previous video, but right now I just want to go through all the columns and then we'll go through the importance of some of them. And then we have a drop-off session column, right? So how long is a client staying in the practice? That's basically what this is getting at. So, maybe you're someone who you're realizing, wow, most people are dropping off after 3 sessions. And so you put that there. But maybe you have people that are coming for 20 sessions, right? I can't add that now. But anyway, you're going to track the drop-off session there. And then again, reason for drop-off. All right. So this might be overwhelming right now just to kind of think about this. But you don't have to collect all this data that I'm collecting, but this is what I've started to collect and it's really helped me. Now let me go back and kind of walk you through what we can do with some of this data once we have it, okay? And how it actually helps practically. So number one, the first thing that we have is now just an entire list of all the people that have reached out and when they've reached out, okay? So we can actually, and this is all made up data, right? But let's go ahead and sort this really quick. If we can do that, let's go to data. Let's see, I don't use this that much. Do I click here? I might not be able to sort it right now. All right, you know what, I'm not gonna mess with this. I've been using Google Sheets mostly, but you could sort this data. Let me try one more time. Format, no. Why is that not working? All right, do I click that? Okay, anyway, I'm not able to figure that out right now. But we could essentially sort that data. Uh-oh, is it freezing? No. Is this working? Okay, so we could, it just disappeared. Okay, I'm sorry for the confusion here. Okay, let's move on from that. But essentially we could sort that data and now we have a list of all the clients that reached out in a given month, a given year, a given week. This is gonna give you a very realistic sense of how many referrals you're actually getting, right? And you'll actually, over time, you'll be able to see a trend. And what you'll be able to do with that information is decide whether or not you actually need to hire a marketing service. Do you need to invest in additional marketing? You may not. You may find that, wow, I'm actually getting a good amount of referrals, but the problem is I'm not getting enough to convert. And now the question becomes, why aren't people converting? You can see here how we have a really simple example of where it might not be like incoming people contacting you issue. It might be a free phone consultation issue, right? It might be a conversion issue, but that's just one thing that might become apparent. Or maybe you're realizing like, hey, I'm actually not getting enough referrals from, I don't know, I'm not getting enough from PsychologyToday. So maybe we update the PsychologyToday profile. Maybe we're getting way more from word of mouth than we thought. And so we start to think, well, where are people finding my practice? But the point is, this just gives us so much information to work with, okay? So that's, I think, the importance of referral source. Cost of booking is really important because a lot of folks come to me and say, hey, I'm paying, I don't know, Zocdoc, this amount, I'm making this up, $100 per booking. Is it really worth it? And if we look at it from a data perspective, right, let's say Zocdoc here, let's just say it was $30 for a booking. Zocdoc, by the way, is much more than that, right? And you say, okay, well, I paid $30 for that booking. And you look over here and you say, all right, well, I get paid an average of $100 per session. And I've seen that person, I don't know, let's go to number 14 times. Clearly the Zocdoc, the cost of that booking was worth it, right? Way worth it. Now, so that's really helpful. Now that's on a micro scale with one particular client, right? Now let's say we're just trying to think globally, like where should I invest my marketing dollars? And you're thinking, all right, well, I don't know, Zocdoc, it's cost me, we have 5 clients, they each cost $30 to get into the practice, 4 of them stuck, this kind of thing. We're actually able to take this value here, the average client value, and if we actually averaged all of this together, right? Average the client value, all of our clients, and we average the number of paid sessions, we're going to come out with two global numbers. We're going to come out with the average session length that a client stays with us, right? So if we averaged all these together, it's actually down here on the screen. Can you see? You might not be able to see it. It's 4.84 based off this data, right? And if we take the average client value, the average is $735, right? This is all made up. But we would know that on average, a client stays for 4 sessions, and based on the payment, each client is worth approximately $700, like an average client is $735. So if we think about with a marketing mindset and we say, okay, I want to spend money on marketing, you know that if you generate one lead, that they're likely to stay for about 4 sessions, and you'll likely generate $735 based off of that person. Is that perfect? No, it's an average. But that then helps. Let's say you spend, I don't know, $500 on marketing dollars, which sounds like a lot, right? $500 a month on a Google ad. You get 1 or 2 clients, and that client ends up staying for 4 sessions. It's worth $700. The ad was worth it, right? You made more money than you did spend on ads. And we're only going to know that by collecting this kind of data. All right, so I think that covers the average client, the importance of the average client value, the importance of the number of sessions, right? And then these other things here are just going to give us more information as well. So treatment frequency, right? So how this kind of helps you decide, well, how many clients do you currently see? How many are, weekly, monthly, whatever. And so you can decide how many clients you need to take on. So that's really helpful. And again, we're not going to go through every single column today. But I think this is a really good start. I think that let me go back here to the main screen. I think this is a really good start. I think that this will really help you get started. Now, if you want, if you want to build this out, it's really simple. You just kind of create those columns there. You can use this as a model, pause the video, and start building it out. Now, no spreadsheet, it doesn't all have to look the same. You can come up with your own spreadsheet, your own design. And then from here, we can actually create formulas to create a dashboard. I'll make a video about that another day, but I made another dashboard based off of this big, huge data set here that gives me like big global numbers that I can look at a glance. And I can share how I did that in another video. But I want to encourage people today to start collecting data. Now, it might take a lot of time up front, right? You might need to spend several days or weeks collecting the data out of your EHR or wherever this data sits. Put it into a spreadsheet where you can start to make sense of it. Now, that is an investment of time, but I think it's a worthwhile investment. So I want to encourage you to take the time to start collecting the data. You can use this as a base. You can start to play around with it yourself. But let's start here. I'm really excited about this. It's been really helping me. I think it'll really help you. I would love to know if you start to do this. Let me know how it goes. Put some comments down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.